Welcome back, everyone, and I'm here again with SBR contributor Dave Golokhov. Today, we're going to be looking at which AFC North team has a shot at winning the Super Bowl. How you doing today, Dave?
Doing pretty good.
All righty, man. Let's start with the Browns at plus 20,000 to win the Super Bowl, according to BetOnline. Now, they're going to be trying out the Johnny Manziel formula here on out, and they start this season right now. Well, their season right now is at 7-6 so far. I think this is going to be, one of the most problematic games for them, considering that they're going up against Marvin Lewis's Cincinnati Bengals. But either way, I mean, what does their playoffs chances look like right now, considering that they're going with Johnny Manziel, Dave?
At this point, I would not be investing in the Cleveland Browns in terms of Super Bowl futures. I think that this team would be thrilled to make the playoffs if they even get there. But at this point, I don't think they quite get there. You take a look at the division, 4 teams above 500, 3 of the teams more experienced than the Browns, 3 of the teams ahead of the Browns. So I think that's really what it comes down to. I think that Manziel actually helps this team. He improves their chances of making the playoffs. But at the same time, you're taking a look at a team that's probably going to have to go on the road multiple times this postseason with a rookie quarterback. Without any, this Browns team's good, but they don't really have a calling card. The defense is good, but not great. The running game is good, but not great. I think it's really tough for them to go and do the things that they're going to need to do with a rookie quarterback to cash in on those Super Bowl futures. So I would stay away.
Yeah, I agree, man. All right, the next one on our list are the Steelers, who BetOnline have at plus 3,300 to win the Super Bowl. Now, their schedule looks like it's going to be tough also, but like you pointed out in your article, they've been pretty erratic so far this season. I mean, what do you think, man? Do you think that they have what it takes to actually make it to the playoffs and take the Super Bowl?
It's a tough one. For those who have watched the videos with me and Pete on Mondays, the NFL recaps, my God, this team is more inconsistent than the most inconsistent thing that you can think of, which I have no idea what that is. But the Steelers are so hard to predict. Yeah. I would say no. I mean, you can't really bank on a team that is so flimsy. One week they lose to Tampa Bay, another week they crush the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. They have the makings of a team that could go far, but you just can't trust them at this point. You take a look at this team from top to bottom. Just, from week to week, you don't know what you're going to get from them. They're not going to have many home games in the playoffs. I would stay away from these futures here.
Yeah, all right, man. Now, the other one that we have here is the Ravens, who, their last 3 games of the regular season kind of look very winnable considering, the teams that they're playing against, which could possibly get them into the playoffs and potentially, become a Super Bowl contender. Now, I think you also pointed this out that we've always seen them get hot at this point in time in the season. Now, BOL has them at plus 2,800 to win the Lombardi, and I think that they're the best chances that the AFC North has of, getting a team to win the Super Bowl. But do you think that they can actually pull it off here, man?
I'm in the same boat as you. I agree that the Ravens are probably the best bet in this division in terms of futures. But I don't think that they're there this year. I mean, I think the offense is better, but the defense has some serious flaws. If the defense could have held up, I would have said sure. But you take a look at that secondary, it's just taken way too many hits right now. And while the offense is better, I mean, just Justin Forsett's running the ball well. You've got Steve Smith being a good complement to Torrey Smith. But now Torrey Smith's out. Dennis Pitt has been out for the year. Just a little too many injuries for my liking for the Ravens right now. At the beginning of the year, I was big on them, but at this point, too many key players missing for me to really invest in them long term.
Yeah, I agree. And usually we saw them rally up around this time when Ray Lewis was back in the team. He got that defense pumped up. So I think that was one of the major factors that might contribute to them not making it all the way. All right, but the last team that we're looking at here in the division is the Bengals, and their schedule is also pretty tough the way, from what we have left of the season. Now, maybe with the exception of that Cleveland game that they have this Sunday, I don't know. I mean, do you think that they have the team, that they need to actually get to the playoffs? Because Andy Dalton always chokes around this time, and he always tends to, screw things up around these times. I think BOL has them right now at plus 5,000 to win the Super Bowl. I don't know, man. I mean, what do you think about this team? Could Andy Dalton finally make a big step here and take them to the Super Bowl?
Unlikely. I mean, you could only bet these futures really based on history, and history shows Dalton craps the bed in the playoffs. But do the Bengals even make the playoffs? I mean, tough game in Cleveland this week. That's basically a coin toss. I wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati wins this game, but then they got Denver at home on a Monday night. That's going to be a tough one. Then in week 17, they're going to go on the road and face the Steelers. And, the way things are going in this AFC North, even if they win those first two games, that week 17 game might be for all of the marbles. Remember, the Steelers are just a half game back of the Bengals at this time. So if everything holds and both teams win their next two games, and that's a big if for the Bengals, then essentially you got that week 17 game in Cincinnati where they're going to be a road dog in Pittsburgh. So the chances of the Bengals making the playoffs, I'd say, it's more likely that they don't make the playoffs than they do. So I would not be investing in them, period. But then again, if they do make the playoffs, history shows Andy Dalton doesn't play well in those playoffs. So really, what are you doing here if you're betting these Bengals futures? An interesting note, one last thing I'll throw in. You take a look at the four teams in this division. There's a stat that a lot of NFL gurus use, very basic stat. It's called point differential, and it's a way to evaluate teams. The Bengals lead this division in terms of wins and losses, but in terms of point differential, they're the only team in this division with a negative point differential. The other three teams all in the positives. The Ravens at plus 101, Pittsburgh plus 43, Cleveland plus 6. So that shows you that, although the record of the Bengals is good, really the other teams might be better, and we might see that as early as this week if the Bengals lose again, and we might see it over the next 3 weeks, which would mean the Bengals are going to the playoffs. Short of it is, I guess the long of it is, I would not be betting the Bengals to win the Super Bowl, let alone make the playoffs.
All right, but if you had to pick out of the four teams here, which one do you believe has the biggest chances of actually winning a Super Bowl if they make it?
I would say Pittsburgh right now. I think they're inconsistent, but Baltimore's got too many injuries. Pittsburgh, I like their running game. I like the quarterback. The defense is weak, but, they're at least a little bit healthier than the Ravens.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Dave, cool talking with you, man, and let's do some more football again next week.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, take care, man. And for SBR Picks, this is Dax Floyd.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.